Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a very special video, and today I'm going to be going through my top 10 films of 2024. The year is almost an end. There's been a lot of films out this year. My own personal opinion, I think it's been a good year for film. There's been a lot of bangers. However, I don't think it's been as good as other years of film in recent years, and maybe I'll get into that within my top 10, but I think there's been an extraordinary amount of good films. I feel like we're missing a level of great films. There's a handful, and there's probably some more I've not seen, but it's been very different to other videos doing this. So I have a top 10. I'm very happy with my top 10. I'm not doing honourable mentions because I don't care for them. I love people that do them, but for me, I'd just be listing off too many because there were so many good films this year. And I'm not saying that for the sake of a video. Going through the list once more, looking at everything I've seen. I've watched a lot recently. I've caught on to most films I think I've wanted to see that came out in this year. I have to also add in an asterisk. I'm doing UK release dates. So maybe there's a film on here people saw last year. Maybe there's a film in here coming out in the States next year. Who knows? But I always stick with UK release dates. And even that gets funny with some people because some people do other ones. It's very weird, but this is how I do my top 10. And before I get into it, I obviously want to hear from people at home. So please do comment your top 10 to 2024. Maybe some films what you're looking forward to in 2025. There will be a top 10 anticipated films video for tomorrow. I'm also going to upload this as a short, that as a short. Just so we've got a shorter version as well for people. So yeah, a lot of changes to go. As I said, it's been a very different year. There's been a lot of TV this year as well, I'm going to also add. So it's nice to look back and reflect on the year. Personally, just having a look on Letterboxd, I had 67 films for 2024. Some awful ones, some great ones, as I said. So I guess it's time to get into it. And I guess to kick-starting with 10th place, I have Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. The latest film on this list, it literally came out on Christmas Day here in the UK. I know it comes out on Netflix in America in January. I didn't know this would make the top 10 list. I'll be honest, it was between this and Twisters, but having had a few days to look back on this, to reflect, I adored this film. Like many people in Britain, you probably grew up with Wallace and Gromit to an extent. You were very aware of Aardman, knowing not what Aardman is at that point as children. So it was lovely to get a brand new Wallace and Gromit film, and if I'm completely honest, a great film at that. The animation looks superb. The voice actor I really like. I know it was a tough job to come in and replace the original Wallace, but this one I absolutely adored. Feathers McGraw's return as a villain. It was a great film. You could take that away from Wallace and Gromit, slap a Pixar logo on it, slap another franchises. It made for a great thriller, a lot of fun, entertaining, and very charming. So that's 10th place. In 9th place, I've got another December release. I've got Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Did not think this film would be making a list such as this. If you'd have asked me a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago when that first Sonic image came out, I can't go over how much I've enjoyed this film. I've been thinking about it a lot recently. It's got one of my favourite comedic performances of Jim Carrey, my favourite comedy actor of all time. I think it's the best of the Sonic trilogy. I think it's great. You've got Keanu Reeves as Shadow, who makes for a really fun villain, a fun dynamic, and it's got so much heart alongside entertainment and action. I couldn't believe I loved Sonic 3, but I did. So yeah, Sonic 3 has absolutely made the list, rightfully on this list, and I wonder if that'll crop up in anybody else's. 8th place, I have Deadpool and Wolverine. Loved the film, very enjoyable from the summer. Yes, it's another franchise one, but I was anticipated for the return of Hugh Jackman. I was very nervous about the return of Hugh Jackman given the ending of Logan. I thought they handled it as well as they could. I think they handled the whole Deadpool in the MCU to a degree as best they can. But also looking back on the Fox era, there's a lot of love that was put into this film and reflection of that Fox era of the Marvel stuff. So it's in my top 10. Probably one of the best cinematic experiences of the year. The crowd that were there for that were great. That added to that. I've not gone back to it since. I've got the 4K and the show behind me, but it is one of those where it was a lot of fun to be had, and I think with repeat viewing it'll be very, very entertaining. 7th place, I have Monkey Man. Dev Patil's directorial debut, one of the best action films of this year, whether we can call it a thriller. As far as a directorial debut goes, it's superb. I can't wait to see what else he's going to be working on in the future. If you haven't seen this, it came out at the start of April here in the UK. I know it went onto Prime in America very quickly. I know that Jordan Peele escaped for it going directly onto Netflix, and it did get a cinema release, so it was great to see that at cinema, and I just thought it was superb and it stuck long in the memory. So that's my 7th pick, Monkey Man. 6th place, I have Gladiator 2. A film that came out in November here. that I've been thinking about on and off a lot. So much of this I loved, and I think it's so close to being like a great film that could have been not on par with the original, but the best it could be, and it's so much almost is that just due to the soundtrack. But I still love this, mainly for Denzel Washington, who is superb in the supporting acting role. I know that's going to be the Oscar discussion, or if he's the favourite, but this was a performance I loved in a film I loved, and as far as the political side of it, that was as entertaining as the action side of it, and the action absolutely delivered, which we know Ridley Scott can still do. So yeah, Gladiator 2, 6th place on mine. 5th place on mine, I've got Conclave, Ray Fiennes' latest film, a film which I feel like we're going to be talking about across Oscar season. I'm not a religious person, so a religious film about choosing the next pope is lost on me. I watched it because I enjoy the cast that's in it. Stanley Tucci's in it as well. I liked the idea, and it's directed by Edward Berger, who did the incredible All Quiet on the Western Front remake a couple of years ago. And a lot of my people that I know that I trust with film opinions saw this, they recommended it, so I did go and see this at the cinema, and I loved it. It felt like prime Game of Thrones with the political side of things. I love a political thriller. I don't think we get enough of them, whether people are just too scared of making them or the reception to them is just very different. It's a fantastic genre when it's done right, and I think it was a great film, so well directed, incredible performances, and a really sharp script to go with it. 4th place. This is one of the most recent ones I've seen, and that includes seeing Wallace and Gromit. I'm putting Anora at 4th. A film I didn't get to see directly at the cinema. It's now online. And it's a film that people are talking about for Best Actress at the Oscars. They're talking about for Best Film at the Oscars. It's the first Sean Baker film I've seen. I loved this. I knew nothing head into it, knowing, I think the only thing I've seen is that it's a Mikey Madison film, Sean Baker's directed it, and it's going to be about like an escort or a stripper or something. I hadn't seen any trailers, I'd stayed away from online discussion. I wanted to just take this film as it comes, see what it's about. I did not expect a comedy. I don't want to call it outright a comedy, but it's a very funny film. It reminded me of Good Time in the sense you've got this crazy situation that characters find themselves in, and you are following them across the events of this situation coming to an end. That's the best possible description I can give this film with giving nothing away. It's remarkable, it's entertaining, it's got a great script, it's got an unbelievable lead performance, and as I said, it's very funny and it shouldn't be. I definitely recommend this for anybody to see. I will be cheering this at the Oscars to see what it does. There's a few films I'm looking forward to doing well at the Oscars this year, but this one in particular, I think it could be Best Actress, if I'm completely honest. It's so good. And I think for people that see it, it's not going to be a film they forget. 3rd place, we have The Substance. Incredible film. Very hyped in the sense that so many people were talking about Substance. It's like an immovable object type thing that at some point you had to see this film this year. And it didn't matter where you were, people were talking about it. It had this event-like feel to an independent film. It did so well even within box office for an independent film these days that you could not take notice of it. Its returns each week, the performances people were speaking about with regard to the film. I loved this. I think it was a great film. I think it's a very ballsy film, and it isn't going to be for everybody, but if this is for you, I think it might sit in your top 10 as well. There's a lot of things I couldn't get over. It's got a great commentary on Hollywood standards of women and so many other things. It's a really interesting watch for many types of people, and I do think on repeat viewing it could be even better. It's not, as I said, it's not for everyone. People might not like the ending and what goes on there, but I didn't mind it. I got what the film was trying to do, and I'm really important for it. So 3rd place, I've got The Substance. 2nd place, I've got The Iron Claw. I love this film. Yes, it came out in the UK in February this year. As someone that's into wrestling, everyone this time last year was talking about it in America. We had to just sit there waiting. Zac Efron not being nominated for the Oscar, all this stuff that was kicking through. Take all the Oscar side of it away. This is a phenomenal film. It's one of the most heartbreaking stories you can think of. A story that is so tragic that they had to cut the amount of siblings in a film to still make it work on a film. That the real life story is even worse than what's presented on screen. I'm normally I'd criticise that, but if you're aware of the real life story, then the Iron Claw works as a function. It works as to what they chose to cut, and I don't think the film could have worked with all the others. But we've got a great group of actors that are emerging through. Some of these, obviously at the time of filming this, have just hit the mega, like Jeremy Allen White and whatnot. Zac Efron by country mile, his best career performance. You got Harris Dickinson in there as well. Lily James, I loved the cast, I loved the film. As a fan of wrestling, they did the Von Erich family absolute justice with the tale, with representation of wrestling in the ring, putting it to cinema, talking about the wrestling circuit back how it was in the 70s. It's a really interesting watch, and if you don't like wrestling, you're probably gonna like the film. If you like wrestling, you're probably gonna like the film. And if you like film, you're gonna like this film. It's really hard to not think about it. It's a very emotional watch, and it's one I think everyone should really strive to see. So second place I got The Iron Claw, and in first place, surprising nobody, Dune Part 2. I could insert the hand dimmer noise, couldn't I, if I really wanted to. I had complete faith in Denis after Part 1 that he'd nail Part 2. I did not think he'd get Part 2 done as well as this. It's the film of the year. I don't know what else I have to say on it. We spoke about it at length of spoiler discussions. We got to interview Laura Kotler, who's the voice of Dune. There was so much we were able to do for this release. Looking back, it's probably some of my favourite videos we've done on the channel. It was a really exciting time, and now we can look forward to Dune Messiah to come. But I've just got to say that Part 2, completing that first book, locking it in across 2 parts, another one to add to the list of unfilmable films that have been, unfilmable books that have now been done. Maybe Nolan and Odyssey is going to be one to add on to that list in a couple of years, who knows, but we've also got Dune Messiah to look forward to, so yeah. Dune Part 2, number 1, probably surprising nobody, but for me, the film of the year, the best film of the year, my favourite film of the year, it nailed all 3 of those. I do these lists taking into account what I enjoy as much as what I think is good, but Dune Part 2 to me ticked both those boxes, exactly what I wanted. Very rare, perfect film. And that's going to be my top 10. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're not fuming. I didn't do too many top 10 list videos. I know it's become a bit of a thing doing them end of the year now. We're halfway through the decade. I remember doing a decade video with Tate as well a couple of years back when we got to the end of 2019. But yeah, there's going to be another top 10. It's going to be anticipated UK release dates. That's going to drop on the channel tomorrow. There'll be a short for this. There'll be a short for the other one. We'll be announcing new stuff for the channel in the next coming weeks as well. So I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that supported us this year, for all the new viewers, new subscribers, anyone that's looked at our videos and they've enjoyed what they've been watching, they've chosen to check out a few more things. We really do appreciate it. We've got Skeleton Crew discussions happening every Wednesday at the moment. It's been Christmas. I hope you all had a great Christmas, but we're getting back on track. There's lots of new releases to be had. There's things to look forward to, and we'll be able to continue doing that. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.